Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topics series. Today's hot topic, Global Divestment Day. On Valentine's Day this year, for the first time ever, we were invited to break up with fossil fuels. We'll talk all about what that means and what happened on Valentine's Day, and we'll look at the issue from many different sides. But first, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Also, tune in to the new words that you're learning when you are speaking so I can correct you and give you feedback. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. That's a little bit about me. I'm going to post our material in the chat window for you, so take a look at that. And let's see who's here. Let me get the camera on. So first, welcome back to Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks.
Very good. Let's say hello to Leonel. Is that right? Did I say your name right? Leonel Roma?
Hello.
Hi, Leonel. How are you?
Fine, thanks, and you?
Very good. And where are you from, Leonel?
I'm from France.
You're from France. Whereabouts? France is a big country.
Yes, from Toulouse in the southwest of France.
From Toulouse. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Nice to have you. So, if you open that link, actually, I don't know if I opened it. Let me see. Did I? Yes, I did. If you open that link, you can see the material close up, but I'll try to share my screen with you as well. And we've got Daniel joining us now too. Very good. So the first thing I want to do is talk about what happened. What happened on the 14th of February, if you were taking part or if you saw it in the news, what divestment means. And I've got 2 videos, really short videos for you to look at in the beginning to get the conversation started. So let's start with a little background. On the 14th of February, events around the world called on institutions to divest from fossil fuels to mark the first Global Divestment Day. People were asked why they supported the movement. Us together, will find out what they said, and eventually, I don't know if it'll be this hour because we're going to do a lot of reading, but eventually we're going to take part in a little role play where you have to convince a powerful CEO to divest too, or convince us why not. That's a little bit of background. If you want to go to any particular part of the lesson, you've got a table of contents there. In the first hour, reading and discussion. In the second hour, we're going to look at some case studies of companies that were forced to divest. And let's start here with the warm-up. Whoops. It'd be great if I spelled everything correctly. And let me make this a little bigger, too, so everyone can see it. There we go. So, divestment. What on earth do I mean by divestment? Let's start there. What is divestment? So let me get your ideas first before I tell you my ideas. Any ideas? Let's start with what you know or what you think it means.
I think it's a way of think. A way of think that the fossil oil is too big a too big resource on our society, and we have to do use other resources more renewable.
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 Yeah, that's it. Is too big a resource, as you said. So let's start with the word divestment, though. What's the opposite of divestment? For those
Investment?
investment. Right. That's why I wanted to make sure that the word was clear. So if you invest, what are you doing?
You spend money.
You spend money. If you divest, what are you doing?
You stop to spend money.
Pretty basic. Divest. Stop supporting something with money, let's say. And yes, it's all about money. And I know I agree completely with you. That's the idea, that fossil fuels is too big a resource. So instead of continuing to invest money, the Global Divestment Day was to raise awareness that we could stop investing. We could, and also divest has the idea of divert. So, oops, can you see that okay? There we go. So what does it mean to divert? If we divert our money, what can we do with it? So think about the word divert. Remember, these are just your opinions. So there's really no right or wrong. I just want to see both for good English words to talk about this topic, if you know what they mean, and if we can start to develop a good vocabulary to talk about the topic, and also the ideas, if the ideas are clear. So, go for it, yeah.
Diverting money, it can be when you change the target of the where you spend.
That's it, precisely. Change the target of where
you spend the money.
Hmm? That's it exactly. So when I say divestment is the opposite of investment, I think that the word the DE, is also to keep in mind this idea of diverting. It's not just to stop spending money, it's also to put it in a new target. Well, let's think about that for a minute. I'm going to show you a really short video which I just saw this morning, and we'll talk about diverting money because I think that it's a good introduction. I'm going to open the YouTube app. You have to accept the YouTube app. If for any reason you can't see the video, I will also put a link in the chat window for you. Okay, so you can, anyway, it's really short. So you can see it in another window. So give me just a second to copy the... let me just copy the video. Where did I put the first video? Oh, here it is. Alright, so I'm going to add the YouTube app now. The link to the video I'm going to play, hold on, is there in the chat window right now. And let's see if you can all see this inside the classroom. Give me just a second to load it up. Is that playing for everyone? Did everyone load up the video?
Yes.
Okay. If there's any problem, just let me know in the chat window. Here we go. This is Fossil Fuel Distribution in 2 Minutes by Hans Rosling. You might have heard his name before. One 1%! Solar and wind! So could you understand his Swedish accent?
Swedish.
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Not Switzerland, Sweden.
Sweden.
Could you understand what he was saying? He's got a pretty thick accent, actually.
Yeah.
No, because for me it wasn't without the volume.
What's that?
It was without audio. I don't know why. I can't see the image at all.
But did you click on the link in the chat window? Because you could watch it in another window.
It's the same. I think
Just-
it's an Hangout problems. So yeah, sometimes when I open YouTube,
Right.
it's without audio, and I have to close everything and reopen everything.
All right. Well, let's summarize for you then. So, help her out, Lionel, Daniel, Adrian. What was it? Was short. What was the gist?
Sean, I have a problem. I can't scroll down the chat bubble. I don't know.
The verbally chat doesn't always work. So, what can I do for you though? You want the link to the video? If I can
No.
put it there? Oh.
No, you wrote down in the chat verbally.
Yeah.
You can read in the chat.
Sure.
The Google chat.
What I
all
wrote.
the-
Sure. I just took a few notes here.
because
Hold on a second.
I can't scroll down the
I just took a
verbally
few
chat.
notes, which I posted right now.
Okay, thank you.
Some of the things that he said. The richest billion uses half of fossil fuels. Half of everything in the world. It diminishes by half as we go from rich to poor. And at the end he said the halo, but he has a very thick accent, so he said hilo, but he meant to say the halo of the rich is solar and wind. And it was 1%. So he was saying 1% solar and wind. Lionel, what's a halo? Do you know what that word is? Halo.
I don't know exactly.
I have this thing over my head, like a little circle of gold glowing.
The crowd of the angels.
Yes.
You hear the angels in the background going, oh! And I've got a little circle over my head. That's a halo.
D'accord.
So Halo. Your name is not Halo. Your name is Lionel. Lionel, why do you think Hans Rosling says that solar and wind is the halo of the rich, and yet it's only 1% of the energy that the richest countries use, and nobody else uses it? As you get poorer and poorer, it's 0%. Why do you think he calls it the halo of the rich, Lionel, in your opinion? Remember, it's just your opinion.
I think it's not already normal, in fact, because in addition of the use of the majority of the organic or old energy use, the richest use exclusively maybe the future of the energy. And in contrary, this type of renewable energy could be very useful for the poor population because renewable energy demands less less investment.
Advancement. Okay, advancement.
Investment than nuclear energy.
Investment. Got it. By the way, just be careful with one thing. When you have an ending, like investment, like this word in the group chat, MENT for us is meant. Be careful, because if you say mon, right?
Yes.
We might not understand that you're saying investment. Investment. Meant. Like that. It demands less investment, ultimately. Maybe not in the beginning to set it up, but I think you might be right. Daniel, so Lionel, I agree completely. By the way, it's Lionel, isn't it? Lionel, I agree completely that he is saying it's the future. We haven't even started to use it. We haven't even looked at it seriously. And ultimately, it might demand less investment than this huge apparatus of oil that we've been using for so long. So I agree with you about that. By the way, is that clear, Sylvia and Adrian, if you weren't able to hear the video? That last part about solar and wind. Is that clear,
Yes,
more or less? Yeah?
No, more or less, I don't know. I don't understand.
So yes, I thought someone was saying something. So the basic idea is that how much oil is used compared to solar and wind? How much oil is used compared to solar and wind?
a lot.
A lot. 99% is used for oil. 1% solar and wind. Is that clear, Adrian?
Yeah.
So the idea is rich countries talk about renewable energy, but they don't use it. That's what he's trying to show us. There's a lot of talk, it's simply not used. 1% is nothing. It's very interesting. This guy is known for taking statistics and making them real, getting people to understand what the statistics mean. What else did I want to say? I completely forgot what I wanted to say. I don't know. Let me go back here. So we have good vocabulary: fossil fuels, investment, divestment, diverting money. I have another question for you. Did you hear or have you heard about Global Divestment Day? The one I mentioned earlier.
No, never.
No one heard of it, really. So it was on February the 14th, which is also Valentine's Day. So the joke was 14th February. The joke was that we have to break up with fossil fuels or break up with oil.
Yes.
What do you normally think of when you hear the term to break up or to break up with someone? What's the relation to Valentine's Day?
They are engaged into this.
You're engaged. So if you break up with someone, If you're engaged, you're going to do what? What do you mean by
Married?
engaged? You're going to engage to be married. So if you break up with them, I guess you're not going to get married anymore. So Sylvia, what's the joke? What's the metaphor then with Global Divestment Day?
Stop to be involved with the using of oil
Who?
and break up. All of us.
Society, let's say.
Yeah.
Society is in love with oil and has to break up. Is breaking up easy?
No.
You know the song, breaking up is hard to do. Breaking up is hard to do. Sing it for me, Sylvia.
I don't know that song.
Oh, you should. It's a great song. All right. I have another short video, but I'm worried that you can't all see it. But it's a great video. It's all about breaking up with oil. Maybe what I can do is play it in between classes. So if you can't see it, you can close your browser and open and see it. I'm not sure. Adrian, were you able to see the video, or did you have trouble?
Yeah, I saw the video. The video.
Uh-oh. What was that? Well, wait a second. Don't play the video yet. Hold on. I lost control of the class. Lionel has hijacked the class. So, Sylvia, let's do this. I've got a short video. I'm going to post a link for you. Even if you don't hear the audio, it's a cartoon. So I think you'll get the message anyway. And it's short. It's all about breaking up with oil. What I want you to do is, let me just see if I play the video. Yeah. Okay, it's this one, breaking up with fossil fuels. Watch this promotion video and discuss why it was made. Was it meant to inform us, or was it meant to persuade us, in your opinion? So think about that. And I think just watching the video without the sound, you can still get the basic idea. Okay, so there's the link in the group chat. Here's the link in the VerbLink chat. I think that works. Uh-oh, maybe the VerbLink chat is broken. I can't get it to work either. Anyway, here is the video. Give me a second to load it up. Oops. Hold on. Let me get to the right video. Here we go. I think. Wait, it's not playing. Hold on a second. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Hard to do. It's a really beautiful girl.
So, what do you think? Was that meant to inform us or persuade us? What do you think?
I think it was for persuade us.
Tell us why. I agree with you, Sylvia. Tell us why.
Because it was so emotional also.
It was much more. I like. Well, it's all about dating. Of course, it's emotional. So, what's the message, Sylvia? If it's meant to persuade us, what are we supposed to think after the video?
We can't live without the fossil fuel.
Fos-
What do you think?
Fossil fuels.
Fuel.
Fuels.
Fuel.
We
And
can't live
so
without them.
our lives without her or him, it will be really, really hard.
Yeah, you end up wearing a fig leaf and living in an empty house. That's what happens when you break up with fossil fuels. Uh, it mentioned Bill McKibbins, too. He said that this was led by Bill McKibbins. Do you know who that is?
No.
Anyone? I'll see if I can put the name for you. Bill McKibbins. Give me a second, I'll give you a link, I think. Bill McKibbins is the head of 350.org. McKibbins, there we go. I'll give you a link to Wikipedia. And it's funny that they mention him specifically, because I could kind of understand if they say, led by anti-environmental activists. I can kind of understand them saying that, but they didn't. They said led by anti-environmental activist Bill McKibbins. There's the link in the chat window, and here's a Wikipedia page. There he is. American environmentalist, head of 350.org, which is a group that raises awareness and does lots of actions around the world to make global warming and climate change a national and international issue, to keep the pressure on. There he is. So, do you think this was a fair and balanced video?
A fair and balanced.
Do you think it was a fair and balanced video? Do you remember what they called him in the video?
No.
Did anyone catch what they said about him? What, did they say he was an environmental activist?
No, I thought it was the opposite.
What did you think? By the way, Adrian, Daniel, did you see the video? It was very quiet. Let me just make sure. Did everyone have it? Did everyone see it?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Why is everyone so quiet?
It is an engaged video. It is very engaged, and the main object of the video is to show that our society is based on the use of fuel, and without that, we have to learn to how to live without fossil to do the breakup. Well, I don't know.
We have to learn how to live without. And is the video saying that it's possible to live without, or not possible? What do you think is being implied?
It is difficult. Maybe I don't understand.
Huh? No, that's what I'm asking.
It is
So, yes, go ahead.
it's difficult because of our things around us are based on the use of plastic made from fossil energy, and if we break up with fossil energies, we obliged to break up with our comfort also.
Exactly. Now, that's one thing that I think the video does well, is that it points out where those comfortable things come from that we might forget. Daniel, what are some things that that the video mentions that maybe are not so obvious? Just out of curiosity. Because we think about fuel and we think about cars, but the video goes on to mention quite a few things that are less obvious.
Clothes.
The guy ends up naked. That's true. Clothes.
All environment around us is by petrol. Plastic, clothes, energy, all kind of materials.
Yeah, his phone disappeared. His clothes disappeared.
The clothes will become to cotton material
or a little green leaf.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing a little green leaf. That's about it. A fig leaf, just like Adam and Eve wearing a little fig leaf. That's it.
Maybe the solution will be to cut down on energy from the oil, but to manufacture materials from the oil, maybe it won't be bad.
That's a good point. One of the things that the video says, well, I mentioned Bill McKibben's because I thought it was strange they talk about him specifically. And they don't say the environmentalist, they say the anti-oil activist or something like that. And they have a picture of him looking evil. Well, I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
Maybe it talks about the lobby about the fossil energy, which is maybe very powerful in our society, and I don't know, the lobby.
Absolutely. So this was made by the fossil fuel lobby, by the way. This video came from them. And the surprising thing is that it's a very well-made video. The animation is funny. The music is funny. The thing that Go ahead, yes.
Sorry, I didn't understand, in fact. The video comes from the lobby of the use of fossil energy, or
No, the opposite. Comes from the oil companies.
Okay.
This was actually made by the lobbyists, the actual lobbyists from the oil companies, from Big Oil. This is their video. And they call themselves Big Green Radicals because they're trying to fool you. They're not radicals and they're not green. And what's interesting is the argument that they present. It is interesting because it's not 100% wrong. What they're saying is not wrong. What Daniel said is a good point. Look at all the things that are derived from oil. Should we lose those? Well, maybe not. But what's interesting is how they take the whole issue and they reduce it to one argument, that being against it is bad. That's what I thought was interesting.
Yeah, because I agree with you, in fact, because they simplify the problematic, and it could exist some other way to
deal with
on the problem and find a smarter solution to prevent some losses of comfort by other way.
I think so too. That's why I looked at the first video first, because he makes the point that when you think about renewable energy, he makes the point, the first guy, Hans Rosling, makes the point that we haven't even started yet. So maybe we haven't even explored it yet. So maybe there's a way also to not lose these comforts. And also, are the comforts, the internet is not a comfort, it's a necessity now. We can't do business without it. But maybe there's another way that we haven't looked into. Let's think about that for a minute. I've got two extracts from two articles, which are there mostly for the vocabulary, but they also look at both sides of the issue from both videos. The first one is interesting because it comes from the newspaper of the United States Congress called The Hill. So this is what the senators and representatives read in Washington, D.C. This is taken directly from yesterday's Hill. This is an op-ed. Do you know what I mean by op-ed?
No.
Let's find out. Op stands for opinion, and ed stands for editorial. Opinion editorial. So an op-ed is different than a regular article because it's an expert, a specialist, giving an opinion. So it's not really news, it's an opinion. So this first one is from what the lawmakers in Washington read every day. This is an opinion article, and I've taken just a few paragraphs from it. And the second one is from The Guardian, the UK newspaper, and it tries to give, I think, a slightly more balanced picture of what's going on. Both of them are about Global Divestment Day on the 14th. We're going to read this to look at the issue a little more, but also to try to build up our vocabulary to talk about the issue. And then we'll talk about these at the end. Okay? So let's read these. I'll highlight key vocabulary words and I'll help you understand them. Please ask questions at any time if there's anything you don't understand. Okay? So let's start with The Hill. Global Divestment Day Follies. Let's start with the word follies. Does anyone know what that means? Follies.
No.
Something like crazy.
Something like crazy. Yeah. Something like that. You're on the right track. Not just crazy, but silly, stupid. So Daniel, what do you think? What do you think Global Divestment Day Follies, what do you think they're trying to suggest, Daniel?
It's a crazy date, no sense.
Exactly. It's a nonsense holiday, a nonsense day of activism. There you go. Well, let's each take a paragraph. Daniel, can you take the first?
Okay. The first ever Global Divestment Day did not live up to its billing, although its supporters promised large sit-ins and demonstrations. Participation in the United States was scant. At the University of Colorado Boulder, about 3,000 students out of 30,000 showed up for a 10-minute rally. At St. Louis Divestment Day, only 10 people marched.
Remember, this is from the lawmakers in Washington, D.C., so we have to see how true this really is.
Yet those aligned with the divestment movement proclaimed success towards fulfilling their primary goal: to convince institutions to break up with the fossil fuel industry and sell their fossil fuel stocks to fight global warming.
All right. So, there's a lot of good words here. In Spanish, and in Italian, and in French, you have a word, something like
Manifestación.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Manifestación. How many words mean that in English here?
Demonstration, race,
Rally.
rally, no race, rally,
Rally.
another.
And maybe one more. Well, and
Yeah.
two more. Two more, actually. Look, two more. Here's
Marched.
another. Marched, yep. And a specific one, sit-in. A sit-in, a large sit-in. So, what's the difference between a demonstration, a rally, a march, and a sit-in? There's a little difference between a sit-in and the others. Want to take a crazy guess? What do you do in a sit-in? Make a guess.
Ina?
What do you do in a sit-in?
Sit.
You sit in a sit-in.
Ah,
So it's a demonstration where everyone sits down and prevents anyone from entering a building or leaving. You just sit there and you will not leave until the police come and take you away. You're to sit in.
sometimes at sittings, people change themselves.
Exactly. Change yourself to
A tree or
the
a fence.
exactly.
Or a fence.
So you can't be taken away. Okay, some other vocabulary. The article says that Divestment Day did not live up to its billing. The word bill should be familiar to you. If I say billboard, what do you think of? What's a billboard? I'll write it for you too. Billboard. Where would you...
You have
Go
to
ahead.
pay.
Sorry, say again?
You have to pay something. A bill. You have to pay something.
Not this kind of bill.
No.
Look at the word billboard, the one I put in the chat window. Billboard. Where do we see billboards? Especially in a city. Where do we see billboards? Have you ever driven down a highway and seen giant signs on either side of the
Yes.
highway? Right?
Yes.
Those are billboards.
So also in front of the skyscrapers?
Sure, yeah. No matter where they are, those are billboards. So, one kind of bill is the bill to pay your electricity and gas. A billing is related to a billboard. So what does a billboard do, Sylvia? What's the purpose?
So usually, okay, in our way, it's only for the velocity, and if there is a
Velocity? No, I don't mean that. If you're driving down the highway in your car and you see a giant sign, not a little sign to tell you the speed limit, but a giant sign for McDonald's.
so they are advertisement.
Exactly. Billboards are big advertisements. So that helps you understand what a billing is. Another word for billing is, take a wild guess. Take a guess.
Advertisement?
Advertisement. Exactly. Billing is an advertisement. So now you know some of the key words. One more key word, though. Fossil fuel stocks. People are told to sell their fossil fuel stocks. You're in my business classes, you know what a stock is. What's a stock?
Shares or share in the company is
Precisely. Shares in a company. We can call them stocks. We can call them shares. Sometimes we can call them actions, like you do in Spanish and Portuguese and probably French and probably Italian. But it's not as common a word. Stocks, shares. Okay? This paragraph is kind of important because it's got the background that we need. So Daniel. Oh, I'm sorry. Adrian, go
I have
ahead.
a question. The first phrase I don't understand. The first ever global development day didn't not live up to its billing.
Okay? Replace the word billing with advertisement or advertising. Substitute it and tell me if it makes sense. If you replace it with advertising.
Mm.
You have to know what live up to means.
Yeah, live up. I don't understand this phrasal verb. I don't know.
Exactly, phrasal verb. To live is what we're all doing. We're all alive, we're all breathing.
Yeah.
To live up to, does anyone know? To live up to.
I don't know.
If I say it like this, I became the President of the United States to live up to my father's expectations. To live up to my father's expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you think of another example of live up to? If you can give an example, it means you understand it.
Yeah, it's because for example, Messi,
Right?
Messi is a big, a great football soccer player.
Yeah, he's okay. He's all right.
He live up to
The fans' expectations.
the fan expectation. Yeah.
Yeah. Not as much as Ronaldo.
Okay.
Messi lives up to it, but not as much as Ronaldo.
Okay.
Because I live in Portugal, so I have to say that. It's my job. Absolutely, that's exactly right. To live up to. So to be as good as something. So, according to the article, was Global Divestment Day as good as the advertising for it? Was it as big as it was supposed to be, class? According to the article, yes or no?
As big as they expected.
Was it as big as the expectations? Or was it smaller than the expectations?
What was the smallest? Sorry.
Right. According to this article. In reality, I'm not so sure. It's true, but that's what he says. Okay.
I don't know in the rest of the world, but in Spain I didn't hear anything about this subject.
Yeah, because this stuff isn't advertised in the media. That's the problem. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I remember in 2003 there was a global action against the invasion of Iraq. I don't remember the month now. I think it was in October. And in every city around the world, people marched. Where I was, there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I mean, the city was packed. And it almost didn't even make the news. There was a mention, but almost nothing. And it was a huge event. I'd never seen anything like it. And that's the problem with this. It's not really covered by the media, or if it, a little bit. The Guardian has an article about it. But I think that they don't give it a very fair time. They don't share the time like they do with other things. You know, maybe what's happening with Beyonce is much more important. I don't know. Well, let's do this. We've got the beginning here. Maybe we just should look at one or two paragraphs of his point of view, and then we can look at the Guardian, which tries to give a different point of view. Okay, so we got the first idea. It wasn't as big as it was supposed to be, according to The Hill. Lionel, can you take the second paragraph?
Yes.
Go for it.
Also, some institutions, including a few colleges and universities, have agreed to divest their fossil energy stocks. Others have refused, for good reason. Historically, fossil fuel stocks have provided an excellent rate of return, making them a solid investment opportunity for endowments.
Good.
Economic analysis firm Sonecom calculated that endowments composed of 2.1%,
2.1 point.
2.1% of oil and gas investment in 2010 and 2011 generated 5.7% of their gains.
Pay attention to these numbers, right? The endowment composed of 2.1%, generating 5.7% of gains. Gains means profits. Okay, but keep going.
During that period, investments in oil and natural gas company shares earned return of nearly 53%.
53%. Can you imagine putting your money in the bank and getting 53% of profit every year? It's unheard of. So, I think, so Lionel, based on that, by the way, just a quick word about pronunciation. The first word here,
Yeah.
although.
Although.
Although. Yeah, the L is silent. You don't say the all, you say all.
Although.
That's it. And everything else sounded good. Also, rate of return. That's a kind of technical term. What do you think that means, rate of return? Fossil fuel stocks have provided an excellent rate of return. In other words,
The interest.
not just the interest, but yeah, it could be the interest. Interest, profit, getting money back in any way. I mean, not just the interest, but any way that we can make money is a rate of return. The amount of money you get back. An excellent rate of return. So this paragraph tells us why colleges and universities, in particular, are all invested in fossil fuels. If they're getting 53% of their money back, and they're investing billions, you can understand why. Adrian, you read, right? So can you take this one?
Yeah. Among those who have rejected student development demands are Harvard President Drew Frost and Tufts President Tony Monaco.
Tufts is a university, and Harvard is a university you probably know. These are two big universities in the United States.
Yeah. When pressed to divest, Monaco stated he would refrain from divest because of the significant anticipated negative impact on Tufts endowments.
Endowment.
Endowment.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Endowment. Endowment is the investment that a university makes, how it makes its money. Universities make a little bit of money from the students, sometimes a lot. They also make money from an investment portfolio. So that endowment is invested in oil.
Okay. In other words, the student, both current and prospective, confessed, yet college students have seized upon development as a cause celebre. Driven by idealism and inflated climate fears, they draw a negative correlation between fossil fuel usage and societal well-being. Without saying it, they buy into the activist line that fossil fuel companies are
rogue
entities seeking profits at the expense of the people and planet.
So this paragraph tries to tell you why people are wrong about being against fossil fuels. So Adrian, why are people wrong according to the author? Why is it wrong to be against endowments in fossil fuels? There's a few things that will help you. Cause célèbre means like a popular cause, a popular movement. The activist line means something that the activists the argument of the activists.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue entities, rogue is something that is completely abnormal. Rogue. A rogue state is a terrorist state, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the logic here? They're trying to say that why are people wrong to be against it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Adrian? If you had to summarize it, what's the logic? Why are people misguided? Why are they wrong?
I think uh, they are wrong because um, if the university where they 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 attend
Right?
uh, are uh, in part maintained or, or, or hold
Mm-hmm. You can
through
also
the
you can
through
also
the
say live off of. Instead of maintain, you can say that the university
uh,
lives off of this money.
okay,
Lives
live off
off of.
live off the money from the this kind of endowment
Exactly.
yeah.
Endowment. Okay? And there's one more thing we have to keep in mind. It's a the guy is saying that if we are misled, it's a cause célèbre. Sylvia, look at that. Cause célèbre and the activist line that fossil fuel companies are rogue entities seeking profits at the expense of people. What's the author trying to say? Why are we misled, according to the author? Even if you disagree, I want you to summarize the author's point of view. Why are we misled, according to him?
Where is the sentence?
I'm just reading the second half here,
Okay.
the part that is in blue, this part. So what's the bottom line according to the author? This part here in blue. How are we misled? How are we? I don't want to say. Well, he's trying to say that we're being lied to, basically. Is that clear?
Okay, yes, that students use that, how can I call, this event
Mm-hmm.
only to celebrate. They want only something to celebrate. And so they are driven by idealism and inflected climate fears, but they really don't trust in that. They only want an excuse
They want an excuse? Excuse to do what? Just to be clear.
to celebrate.
No, not
To
exactly.
do some.
Not exactly. Cause celebre means a popular cause. That's all it means. Just an expression. A popular cause. Something that is in the media that everyone talks about. It doesn't mean the students want to celebrate. It means
Okay.
that they all believe in this popular idea. And the idea is a popular idea, but it's not true.
It is as a fad.
A fad, exactly. Cause celebre is a fad. Good word. And so the lie, according to the author, is they are driven by idealism. It means that they don't understand the real world. So Sylvia, you're a student. Is it true that you do not understand the real
No,
world?
it's
Is that
not
true?
true.
Of course. Of course not. But that's what he's trying to say. Listen, we're going to continue in just a minute. I have to start the next class, which will be the second part of this class. Okay? One thing we're going to do is try to convince a famous CEO to divest from oil. Some of you will be the CEO, and some of you will be the activists. You can decide whose side you're on. We'll do that and more in just a minute. I'll be back in 30 seconds with the next class, so stick around, and we'll use this vocabulary that we're learning. Bye for now, everyone. See you in a few minutes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.